Hello, Professor Kohara, and hello, class. Let's get started on my week 3 individual video analysis assignment. Alright, so I chose Rayleigh's out here in Paseo Padre, and I chose Whole Foods, which is located here in Fremont. And I used to work at Rayleigh's, so I have a good understanding of the layout and everything, like the cash registers and where the stationary stuff is located, and where the football and sports softball stuff is located, where the pet food is. So I have a good understanding on Rayleigh's, but it's been a while, and I was excited to observe it, to see if the traffic moves as fast as it did as when I was working, and who's working, who's not working, and how the meat and deli culinary area is being handled. And it was very exciting to see all that and to observe all that. And then the second, as you can see, these are the faces of the main entrances of both grocery stores. The bottom picture is Whole Foods, and the top picture is Rayleigh's. And as you can see, Rayleigh's looks pretty open, and Whole Foods is more refined and classier, looks a little bit more upper echelon, and Rayleigh's looks like a cool little spot you can stock up on groceries, basically anything you want. And Whole Foods is more specialized. Alright, hello class. So yeah, the two grocery stores I chose was Rayleigh's in Paseo and Whole Foods in Fremont. And as I explained earlier, this is my childhood grocery store where I worked was Rayleigh's. But both of these locations are located very close to one another. So that just tells you that they are direct competitors, and it's in their best interest to have a good looking atmosphere, because if they don't, then any sane person would just say, forget about it, I don't want to do business with you, I'd rather walk 2, 3 streets down and boom, I'll find a superior grocery store. But as I observed, this is not true. Both of them are well maintained, well staffed, but have many differences. Let's go on to the next slide. Alright, so speaking of differences, some of the differences I observed were that Rayleigh's was more bland in their execution of how they looked, meaning they weren't as they didn't have variety when you walked in. There was no colors, there was no, basically the whole store was, if you looked up, it's white, then the ground is white, so it's kind of like a neutral color. And yeah, of course they have balloons and like a couple of holiday decorations, but it really did seem monotone when you walked in. So if you compare that with Whole Foods, when you walked into Whole Foods, it was like an experience for your senses. You smelled awesome food, you smelled garlic and the bread, you smelled the pasta linguine, and then you took in the cool little lights they have where it doesn't really bother your eyes. So that just hits your eyes, and then you admire uh, the sounds as well, because it doesn't sound bad. It has a nice little tune. Everything's happening in fast motion, and to actually hear a well-oiled machine work, which I refer to as Whole Foods, is like the management there are like engines. So when you're just listening to all the items being checked out and put in the basket, the people leaving, dropping the carts, stuff like that, it's pretty pleasing. And so you just stand there and admire everything going on. That's a big difference, is that the atmosphere in Whole Foods is much more engaging to your six senses. Your senses are all being flooded and overloaded with information, and you're processing it, whereas in Rayleigh's, you walk in, it's bland, you get what you want, you get out. Let's go to the next slide. Now let's talk about the similarities in what I found. They were pretty few and far between, to be honest. I didn't really find many similarities, because they're two completely different grocery stores that are aiming for two completely different niches and groups of people. But that's not to say there weren't any similarities, because there were, and the similarities were that they were actually managed pretty nicely, and they were pleasing aesthetically, meaning that they weren't dirty. Of course, Whole Foods looked a little better, but Rayleigh's wasn't dirty. There was no trash, and they had sweepers. So that's one thing that I observed that was similar, is that both Whole Foods and Rayleigh's had courtesy clerks that were sweeping. So it's nice to go and walk on freshly swept floors, and they were using like soap. So it was pretty clean. I also observed that both Whole Foods and Rayleigh's were in the holiday spirit, and they had a lot of decorations. They had, when I went, it was a lot of Christmas. So there were no Halloween. There were a couple of Halloween items, like pumpkins, but other than that, it was just cool little Christmas items and reindeers, candy, cool little statues of Santa Claus. I actually saw the same type of statue of Santa Claus in both grocery stores. So that's another thing that I found similar. And the other similar factor I found when I was observing is that they both have self-checkouts, and they're actually like very helpful. And anyone that has like 5 items or 10 items or less, just boom, use the self-checkout, and it makes the experience better. So the supply and demand pricing, I found that Whole Foods was more affected by supply and demand pricing, meaning that they have to match the supply and demand of their specialization, which is greener products and healthier products and vegan products. And I observed that Rayleigh's was more specialized towards general people, like carnivorous people, people who just would like you know, uh, would not just like vegetables, but people who would be okay with meat and uh, pork and you know uh, meats like that, non-kosher meat. So I found that Whole Foods was way more lenient in the more religious area, or people with predisposed um, ideas about what they're putting in their bodies. So Whole Foods would cater to people like that, and that would result in their supply matching the demand. And the demand is, of course, lower than the general populace. So Whole Foods would have a lower supply of meats, and they would have a higher supply of specialized items like vegetarian goods and South Indian stuff, and kosher Jewish. So other than that, yeah, uh, I feel like Rayleigh's had more. Um, I wouldn't say diverse items, but they would have more household items like a drugstore or dog food, but you couldn't find that in Whole Foods. Alright, so how does the global business environment affect these two stores that I use or that I chose? Well, they both affect both stores with great effect, meaning that the global trade business environment is crucial to the stability and growth. And if the global business environment isn't having, isn't grabbing the corporation with helping hands, then it's not easy to survive, especially in a monopolized capitalist type of scenario. So what I observed is that different seasons give different items to have the forefront in what the companies use. So when the season changes, the companies have different outlooks and different goals to what they want to actually actually accomplish and what they think success is. So they would sell this many amount of Halloween stuff or this many amount of meat stuff when it's NFL season, and so I observed that they take root and they really take advantage of certain trends that are happening. I learned that they really do think short term sometimes, because in the end they're not going anywhere. So their long term is kind of set, and their long term helps when they think short term. Because short term brings a lot of revenue. And different stockholders and shareholders really do affect the environment. So these stockholders and shareholders are part of the global business environment. And I observed in Amazon, Whole Foods really takes a beating because they have to prepare and they have to be on top of their stuff to have many customers come in from the online portion. So they sign up at Amazon and then they buy whatever they want online, and then they just come, pick it up, and leave. So Whole Foods has to be held accountable for the experience that they have, because Amazon promises that once you step in, you can just grab the item and leave. So if that doesn't happen, then Whole Foods gets the finger pointed at them. So the Whole Foods has to make those stockholders in Amazon happy. Alright, so in management observations, I observed a more autocratic leadership in Rayleigh's and a more democratic leadership in Whole Foods. So Rayleigh's had, one person, kind of like a dictator style. If you had to go to the bathroom, or if you had to take a break, or if there was an issue with a customer, you go ahead and talk to that one person, that one dictator style, and whatever goes is what his or her word is. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If that manager, whatever he or she says, that's what is going to happen. And in Whole Foods, that was not the case. It was more of a collective team. It was a more collective and team effort. When I was there, I observed a lady that credit card wasn't working. So instead of the clerk just asking the manager like a Rayleigh's clerk would do, the clerk at Whole Foods diagnosed, dissected, and analyzed and corrected the problem then and there. There was no need for more delay in time where you would ask the manager and then the manager would deal with it, and then people would get stuck in line, and then that would cause backup. So it's nice to have a democratic leadership being observed, because everyone's opinion counts, what you say matters, and there's weight to what you say. Couldn't say the same for Rayleigh's. Alright, so what did I observe at Rayleigh's? It was a more controlling style. It was like, I would describe it as like a tribal style, where what opinion you have of the tribe leader is set in stone, and you cannot refute it, you cannot go against it. It's just, that's the way of the land, and it's the way that things will go. If the manager or your tribe leader says it, it's not like you can go up to him or her and just alter the plan. And what I observed is that that's exactly what was happening there. When there was a customer who wouldn't get the price he wanted, basically he said that he had a item that was worth $8.87, which he said he claimed that was written there, but when the clerk ran it up, it came up as $11.69. So if the customer says what he says is true, then understandably I would understand that he was in the right. Understandably he would be angry. But as it happens in the database, there was no actual price of it being $8. It was the price was $11.69, and there was nothing that the manager or anyone can do. So it was kind of a frustrating environment there. If it was more of a like something more of a team, I bet they would just let it through. But since it was one person working like a dictator style, she was just not having it, and it just created a tense and weird environment for everyone involved. Alright, so let's conclude our slideshow presentation. This last slide will be my observations on Whole Foods. In contrast to what I saw at Rayleigh's, it was pretty well taken care of in comparison to Rayleigh's. So it was a well-oiled machine, as I said earlier. It was it's nice, and the input-output ratio is high, and it's not stuttery. It's not like there's a piston stuck. It's very clean and precise, meaning if there's a person that comes in with the Amazon order, they're promptly taken care of and sent on their way. And if there's a more traditional customer, they can find all of what they need at the shelves because they're neatly and well stacked. And then following that, they're promptly taken care of when they're waiting in line, because there's not just one register open, there's about 4 at any given time. So that just lets you know that they're more into that high functionality lifestyle. Also, what I observed was the managers weren't really the people that were calling the shots, you know. If they were calling the shots, it would be more collective effort, a more democratic feel. So everyone had, if anyone would have an opposing opinion, they would listen and then make their decision. Because every team member there was part of a nice, well-oiled machine, as I said earlier. So if one of the parts of the well-oiled machine is disgruntled, then the well-oiled machine will not act like a machine, it will just act like a rusty machine. So, this assignment was really fun. I observed that Whole Foods was superior, but Rayleigh's was better for, like, you know, liquor, sports equipment, you know, like dog food, and Whole Foods was more specialized towards new era, like new trends, more chic stuff, you know, more fancier stuff, green friendly, eco friendly, vegan friendly, a lot of you know, vitamins, supplements. So it was a good experience. Thanks class, thank you professor, and have a nice day or night.